Hello everyone. This presentation is about the guidelines for journal or article review. You have been doing your journal reviews in every week, but there are certain confusions and regarding the journal presentations or journal review. And this attempt is to clarify the confusions regarding the journal review. So let's move to the introductory portion of this lesson. So the basic aim of a journal review is just to develop the critical skill for analyzing a paper, the ability to critically appraise and present an academic paper. It's a competency required for the trainee doctor. The skill of critical appraisal and the ability to use the current evidence base in medical practice has evolved for journal clubs and it became an integral part to this process. Journal reviews help to link research to clinical practice and help to develop research ideas. Journal clubs are also allow academic debate and networking between colleagues of varying seniority. So, to promote critical appraisal among doctors is the important aim of literature review or any type of reviews, especially in the medical field. The scientific papers are reviewed, and this also evolves certain research ideas in the students or in the review groups. So journal club also allow academic debate and networking between colleagues of varying seniority. So we go back to the history or the historical background of journal club formation. Caesar William Osler was one who established the first organized journal club at McGill University in 1875. So there's an interesting statement regarding the journal club. It is an introduction to the systematic use of medical literature to junior staff and a convenient method of surveying the medical literature for senior staff. So regarding the rationale of writing a review article. So what is the purpose of reviewing an article, especially a medical article? The fundamental rationale of writing a review article is to provide a best readable literature source on an important research inquiry or a topic. So this simple definition of the review article contains the following key elements. The question to be dealt with. The question means about the research question. Usually there will be a research question in every researcher, and this is actually meant by what is the exact question that prompts you to search for this article, and methods used to find out and select the best quality researchers so as to respond to these questions, to synthesize available but wide researchers. So it is the fundamental rationale of writing a review article is to provide the best readable literature sources on an important research inquiry or a topic. Whenever there is a research question in your mind, just search for such a literature which give you an answer to your research question. It is used to update the knowledge and generate guidelines about a topic, to create a readable synthesis of the best resources available in the literature for an important research question or a current area of research. And sometimes funding agencies resort to these reviews to reveal the need for these researchers for further investigations. So your research literature review may put a leading guidance to such funding agencies, whether the researchers can necessity or whether it is important in the current scenario of research. So these are the certain benefits of reviewing a literature or reviewing a medical This literature reviews or journal clubs. So these are the directions for conducting a journal club. So journal reviews are also a part of journal club. So they are held at regular intervals. For example, monthly at a convenient time also. And we are doing journal reviews every week. Maintain an attendance register chaired by an expert. Articles selected are of clinical relevance to the members. So don't make an attempt to simply evaluate or simply review all the articles which is available in the literature. So you just select a clinically relevant matter or clinically relevant article for your review. And original articles are the most frequent papers discussed. Papers are read in good time before the meeting. Circulating the subject matter by email or the internet are effective ways to do this. See, when you give the opportunity to others to go through the paper much time previously, it will be a beneficial thing for every one of us, those who are participating in the discussions. All of us can share knowledges regarding the particular subject. So it is better to give or to circulate papers among the members of the club before the start of the meeting. So they are held at regular intervals at a convenient time. Maintain an attendance register. It should be chaired by an expert. Articles selected are of clinical relevance to the members. Original articles are the most frequent papers discussed. And finally, the papers are read in good time before the meeting. Now, what is a good review? When you call a review as a good review? Good review methods are critical because they provide an unbiased point of view for the reader regarding the current literature. Review should be written in a systematic fashion. An essential part of the review process is differentiating good research from bad and leaning on the results of the better studies. The ideal way to synthesize studies is to perform a meta-analysis. So we have different types of reviews existing. Like narrative reviews are there and systematic reviews are there. Narrative reviews are written in an easily readable format and allow consideration of the subject matter within a large spectrum. But what about the systematic review? It's a very detailed and comprehensive literature survey as performed on the selected topic. And systematic reviews are considered as gold standard articles. See, when the systematically reviewed articles, systematic reviews are a type of literature review, and these are said to be the gold standards of articles. Systematic reviews can be divided again into qualitative and quantitative reviews. In both of them, detailed literature surveying is performed. In quantitative reviews, study data are collected and statistically evaluated, which is known as meta-analysis. Okay, so statistical analysis along with the systematic review is known as meta-analysis. So these are the different types of reviews existing in the current scenario. Now we again move on to the stepwise approach to presenting an article or stepwise approach to review an article. What all things you have to be reviewed in an article? First step is make an introduction. It means explain the clinical question that prompted you to consult the literature and what drew you to the article. So finally, so what is the research question that prompted you to consult the literature? Then you write about the author. Title of the article is to be mentioned, author's name and institution, and any other outstanding feature of the particular literature. Like sometimes it may be one of the important articles mentioning about the particular topic, or it may be a kind of article which is exclusively mentioning a particular topic. like that any such outstanding features are related with your article that is to be mentioned. Then the impact factor of the journal readership. Then what about the circulation of the journal, whether it is a monthly circulated one, a weekly circulated one, etc. So then try to ignore the abstract initially. It may influence your appraisal about the validity of the paper. So initially you have to go through the entire literature, left out the abstract at that time. Finally, you can go through the abstract of the literature. Then you have to look on the hypothesis of the literature or the study. What is a research question? Is it well constructed? So how do you know that a research question is well constructed? To that purpose, the research question should have to follow a criteria which is in short called as FIFO. The P represents population, whether it mentioned the population among which the study is conducted, intervention of the study, control group is there, or whether the outcome is mentioned. So these four elements are to be included in a research question so as to be called as a good research question. So check for this FIFO criteria. Then read the key references and related papers. What is already known on the subject? Is this correctly presented? Is the hypothesis is correct? Is the question relevant and important in the context of existing literature? What does the study contribute to existing knowledge? So about all these matters, you have to make a critical analysis in the literature. Then next you have to go through the study design, about the study type, what about the randomization technique used, the study population, any bias you can recognize regarding the experimental or observational bias, inclusion and exclusion criteria, whether all these matters are perfect or not. Then regarding the methodology, method and approach to the study, follow-up, outcome measures, statistical analysis. Have the authors made a power statement? So these are certain terminologies. These are used in the studies usually. P-value, power of a study, regarding errors, type 1 error, type 2 error, etc. So these are the things which will be very, very difficult to understand, but it is usually taught you during the research methodology classes. What significant level has been used? The p-value. Has the power of the study been stated? Was the power analysis carried out? Was this before the study or post-hoc? Is the study sufficiently powered to eliminate errors? Do the data exhibit low variability? What is the effect size? These are certain statistical concern about the study. So we have a simple look at errors in the study. So as you know, there is the hypothesis means these are assumptions actually. These hypotheses are set usually before the start of the study, and especially in the experimental studies. And we have mainly two types of hypothesis: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, represented as H0 and H1 respectively. H0 is a null hypothesis actually. Null hypothesis means, for example, if you are going to check whether a drug is effective in a particular condition, and you have to make the null hypothesis like this, that there will be or there is no difference in the or there will be no effect which is made after the administration of the medicine. That is a null hypothesis. So it is represented as H0. We are assuming that there is no change will be occurring after the intervention of suppose of homeopathic medicine in a particular condition. So that type of hypothesis is known as H0 or null hypothesis. Then what about the type 1 and type 2 error? So in simple language, it is termed as, suppose if the H0 is true and you are accepting that H0. That is the correct decision, isn't it? If the H0 is true and you are accepting the H0, that's a correct decision. And if the H0 is true and we are rejecting it, which is known as a type 1 error. So that probability of type 1 error is known as alpha. So naturally, the correct precision is 1 minus alpha. Right. Then if the H0 is false and we are accepting the H0, that is type 2 error, known as beta. But the correct precision is, if it is false, we have to reject it. So that is 1 minus beta. Follow. So there are two types of errors, type 1 error and type 2 errors. Usually the type 1 error, probability of occurring type 1 error is known as the p-value. P-value can be represented in this language also, the probability of occurring type 1 error. P is also described in terms of rejecting H0 when it is actually true. However, it is not a direct probability of the state. Then another terminology is statistical significance. It's another way of saying that the p-value of a statistical test is small enough to reject the null hypothesis of the test. So most of authors refer to statistically significant as p-value less than 0.05 and statistically highly significant as p-value less than 0.001. That means less than 1 in 1,000 chance of being wrong. That is the general, description about the p-value. So you have to check in the literature, in the article, that whether the p-value is set correctly. Then these are certain notes about type 1 error. Just for understanding what is a type 1 error, is the incorrect rejection of the null hypothesis. Maximum probability set in advance as alpha is not affected by sample size as it is set in advance. Increases with the number of tests or endpoints. Type 2 error is the incorrect acceptance of null hypothesis. Probability is beta. Beta depends upon sample size, and alpha can't be estimated except as a function of the true population effect. Beta gets smaller as the sample size gets larger. Beta gets smaller as the number of tests or endpoint increases. Now you have to analyze the result of the study. Are the results clearly stated? Have any results been ignored, and why? Is the result statistically significant? That is the p-value less than 0.05. Then review again the supplementary graphs and tables also, and consider whether they are accurate and represent the data presented in the text. Then the next step is discussion and interpretation. Discuss the strength and weakness of the study. Do the results support the conclusion? Consider the statistical significance versus the clinical significance. Suppose sometimes the study may be statistically significant, then you have to check whether what is the clinical significance of such a study. Include a discussion of the limitation of the study. Have the author declared any conflict of interest? Then regarding the clinical context, assess how the paper might change clinical practice. How useful the study result to the practicing community. The next is output. Your comments may be conveyed in the form of a letter to the editor. Like points of merit should be included in that letter. Inconsistencies and statistical shortfallings may be mentioned. So it improves your writing skills also, and if accepted are often published quickly. Often the article may suggest areas for further research. So as a summary, we can say that journal reviews are always make readers keeping up to date and developing academic skills. Critical appraisal skills are developed through journal reviews. Research literacy and evidence-based practice are developed. the need of continuing medical education are met, interview skills are developed, intra-departmental social and professional networking take place, and publications are generated through letter to editor, and further research may be promoted in this aspects. These are the references from which I made this presentation. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you.